Hi friends, welcome back. This is Vignesh from Deep Dive Swimming Academy, and today is the first class of learning freestyle kick. If I talk about the swimming, there are 4 strokes. First was freestyle, second one is breaststroke, third one is backstroke, fourth one is butterfly. Now, first of all, we need to learn freestyle, and there are some technical reasons why we're supposed to learn freestyle first. Because mainly when we learn freestyle, our body has to be straight on the surface of the water, like floating properly on the surface of the water, maintaining a center of mass exactly at the middle of your body. But there are few trainers which will teach you breaststroke first. But what my personal opinion in this is, when you learn breaststroke, your legs has to be down in the water. Breaststroke is a stroke in which you will not be able to get your legs up at the surface of the water. You don't have to, for that matter. Why exactly? Because breaststroke is developed in that way only. Whenever you do breaststroke, you have to maintain your legs down, and there you're supposed to go for the kicking, and you have to make your upper body usually keep yourself up at the surface of the water. That's how it is. And when you go for breaststroke, your center of mass will go down below your belly a little. That's why. And once you learn freestyle later on, it'll be a little difficult task for you to maintain your legs up later on. It'll be a challenge for you. And there is one more reason. In fact, if you are going for the breaststroke first, breaststroke is a kick in which you have to bend your knees and going for the kick, which we'll be learning later on, of course. But on the other hand, freestyle is something in which you have to keep your legs straight and do not bend your knees, and that's how you're supposed to go for the kick. So these are a few technical reasons. That's why we're supposed to go for a freestyle first. Now, in today's class, we'll be learning how you're supposed to go for a freestyle kick, to be precise. Now, there are few concepts. Whenever you go for a freestyle kick, first of all, you should know how you're supposed to float, how you're supposed to glide, how you're supposed to operate your breathing techniques under the water. But now, today we'll be going for a freestyle kick. In this, there are few steps, there are few layers. Whenever I talk about learning things, you should be really slow. Whichever small movements that you're doing, those things has to be really precise and perfect. Now, the first step that we'll be doing in case of freestyle kick to learn is you have to sit on the wall where you can reach your legs inside the water, as you can see in this video. Then once you sit on the wall, sit a little bit ahead so that the maximum amount of your legs has to be a little down in the water. Now, there are 3 things that you need to remember as far as freestyle kicks are concerned. First thing is you have to keep your legs together, not sticking together, but close to each other. You're not supposed to keep your legs apart. That's the first thing. So first thing is keeping your legs close to each other, as close as possible, but not sticking together. Second thing is very important, that you're supposed to keep your toes tipped. You have to keep your toes tipped, pointed, tippy toes, whatever we can say. Third thing, which is really important, is you're not supposed to bend your knees when you go for a freestyle kick. So these 3 things are really important. Usually when you see kids kicking, they bend their knees and they go for the kicking because they don't have much control on their body, so they just go for kick and they'll keep on splashing some water. As a basic freestyle kick, that's okay, but later on, just remember that whenever you're practicing, make sure you have to correct these 3 things. You're sitting on the wall, legs are down in the water, legs are straight, closer to each other. Second thing, tippy toes. You're not supposed to lift your toes up like that. Third thing is, what you're supposed to do is keep your knees absolutely straight. You're not supposed to bend your knees. Now, these 3 things, and keep on flapping. Try to go for freestyle kick, as you can see in this picture. Now, you must have seen many advanced level people swimming and bending their knees while kicking freestyle. But later on, that's a part of getting natural things adapted in your stroke. Initially, if I ask you to bend your knees a little, you will start bending your knees and you will just literally spoil your kick big time. But this is the time you be really precise about your kick, arrange your 3 things very perfectly, and make your freestyle kick perfect. So I would suggest you to go for these kind of kick at least 7 to 8 sets. Let's say that if you're going into the water for the first time, if you're just sitting on the wall and kicking for the first time, I would say if your legs are paining, then count it as a 1 set. Take a 1 small break, let's say the 30 seconds ka break, and right after that again you go for 1 more set. And again, if your legs are paining, take a break. This is how you're supposed to go for at least 7 to 8 sets. Maybe you can go for 9 if you have a little good stamina, if you're not worrying about legs getting pained or something. There are few concepts that you need to remember. Whenever you're going for the kick, Why exactly first step has to be sitting on the wall and kicking? Why we are not directly going inside the water and starting kicking? There is some reason. Whenever you sit on the wall, this is the only step where you can look at your legs and correct your legs. After that, let's say that next step is holding the bar and going for the freestyle kick. There you will not be able to look at your legs. After that, you will be gliding ahead and you will be kicking. There you will not be look at your legs. So this is the only step and the first step in which you will be able to perfect your kick, and you yourself can look at your legs and make that thing correct. Now this is the reason. Make sure that you're sitting on the wall again. Legs are straight, close to each other. Knees are not bending and tippy toes, and this is what you're supposed to go for at least few sets. There are few things that I need to make you understand in this is, whenever you're going for the kick, do not hold the wall so tight. If you're sitting on the wall and if you're kicking, do not hold the wall so tight. Keep your hands nicely on your thighs and relax them. Especially this is the problem that everyone feels. If you're an adult and if you're learning freestyle kicking, usually the main problem that we have is whenever we kick, we make our shoulders a little stiffer. And if you want to know why exactly your body gets stiffer when you go for swimming, we have one more video. You can just stay connected with us, and of course we'll get back to you on that. Now this is the first step of the kicking. I hope you understand. You can revise it again. Try to make at least 7 to 8 sets around that and go for the next step. Once you're done with this kind of set, the next set is get down inside the water, be comfortable inside the water, hold the bar which is there. Maybe you can find a similar rod in whichever pool that you're going in. Hold the bar, head down in the water, and you know the floating that we have done, and you know the floating, how you're supposed to make your body float up holding the bar. That is what you're supposed to do, and once your legs are up, then gently start kicking. That is what you're supposed to do. Now whenever we kick, there are few things that we need to remember. First thing, this is not the time you put a lot of pressure when you go for the kick. You should go for a really nice and gentle kick. For that matter, I usually say to my students that whenever you're kicking, your shoulder should not know that you're kicking. For example, that means whenever you're kicking, you should be kicking so gentle and nice that your shoulder should not feel any pressure when you kick. That is something that I mean to say. Now, whenever you hold the bar as gentle as possible, but make sure you kick nice and easy, healthy and small. You're not supposed to kick so big, you're not supposed to kick so small. It has to be moderate. Do this exercise for at least 7 to 8 sets again. For example, take a deep breath, put your head down, get your legs up, start kicking. Once you feel that you're running out of your breath, take your legs down, stand up, take some breath. Maybe you can go for a walk again go for one more set. So development of the kick is a really slow process, but it cooks very well. The more you invest time on your basics of freestyle kick, the kick will be really great later on. You'll be able to do it much more better. Now the next step is going towards the wall and kicking. You can stand a few steps far from the wall, put your head down, float, and you can glide and keep on going towards the wall with the kick. But make sure this requires a lot of time. I would say first and second activity that I told you, that sitting on the wall and holding the bar and kicking, these are the activities at least you need to do for at least 3 to 4 days, and take some time, invest a lot of time, practice on the basic things, and then only you go for kicking by yourself. Otherwise, you're for sure your shoulders will get stiffer and you will not be able to go ahead. Some of you might have experienced kicking and not moving ahead, or kicking sometimes going back or something. This usually happens because your shoulders will get stiffer. For example, people who are big time into running, gymming or trekking or cycling develop their shoulders really stiffer. Or let's say that if you're an IT person or sitting and working for long hours, you develop your shoulders very stiff. So if you're doing that, and if you're trying to go for a kicking, then of course small movement of your legs will also make your shoulders really stiff, and which will make you stop going ahead inside the water. This is what I mean. So make sure your shoulders are extremely relaxed whenever you go for the kick, no matter what, how far you're going, no matter what, how strong you're kicking. First of all, you're not supposed to kick stronger. Try to go for gentle kick. Later on, for sure, you will increase your speed. Again, few examples I would like to give you. For example, whenever you're learning how to ride a bicycle, do you think about going faster on the day one? No. We usually think about balancing, doing so many activities at the one time. For example, you will be thinking of paddling, balancing with your handle, brakes and all those things. It is in the same way. When you're learning how to go for a freestyle kick, you're not supposed to worry about how fast and how far you're going. You should always worry about how exactly I'm kicking and how perfectly I'm kicking. This is a very crucial thing that we have to understand. This is why exactly I'm giving you these examples, because most of the people expect that on the first day when you're kicking, you will go ahead. But now you must have seen many people kicking and going ahead. You will expect your body to do the same on the day one, but it's not going to happen like that. That they must have developed the kick practicing really long, or maybe they have naturally relaxed body. That's how it is. And of course, again, if you need to understand more concepts about relaxed body and stiff body and how it is affecting your swimming, stay connected with that channel. Of course, we'll get back to you on that, and you will have all the logical reasoning how you're supposed to keep your body relaxed while swimming, and for sure it will help. Now, this is the second step. Once you finish with this second or third step that we have discussed about kicking and going towards the wall, the next step that you can do is just taking a good glide once your legs are up and gently start with the kick. As you can see in this video, you can just go for very nice and small and relaxed kick. Make sure whenever you kick, it's not necessary initially to keep your hands streamlined. Usually people will ask you to keep your body streamlined and go for it. But if you keep your body streamlined, maybe you will keep your body a little stiffer. So I would suggest you to try that normally, keeping your both hands relaxed and straight in your shoulder line. It is fine if you bend your elbows initially, but later on we can correct that. But first priority is to continuous, rhythmic and perfect kick with those three things that we had discussed earlier. That is legs close to each other, knees straight and tiptoes. And along with that, you have to maintain your hands really nice and relaxed. That will make you go ahead. Keep on practicing for a few laps and few days at least. Once you're done with that, then you can think about keeping your hands locked. That is getting the streamlined body and then going ahead. That is something that you can do. And these are the steps. Usually to develop that perfect kick, we take at least 6 to 7 days. The more you invest in freestyle kick, to learn freestyle kick and to master it, easier it will be for you in future to increase the speed. There are a few concepts again, why we supposed to kick by keeping your knees straight and why you're not supposed to bend your knees. That you must be having that question. Now, whenever you bend your knees, you usually use muscle which is smaller in size. You may feel a little more comfortable when you bend your knees and kicking, and of course you will see some result that you're going ahead. But when you don't bend your knees, of course if you keep your legs really straight and if you're kicking, it is a little difficult to adapt. But for sure, you will be using a bigger muscle in your body. You will be using core, your thigh muscle. And this is one of the biggest muscle in your body. And for sure, not now, but later on, you can increase the speed like anything. You will be able to get a better pace when you're going for freestyle in future if you try to keep your legs straight and kicking. Now, there are a few concepts again. Why exactly? If you see some advanced level people swimming by bending their knees, if you see some underwater swimming, you will see they're bending their knees when they go for a freestyle kick. Naturally, you have to pick that bending your knees in naturally later on. So as of now, don't think about that. If I'm just giving an example, if you have a strip of cardboard which is straight and if you're just making waves out of it, and then of course, does it really bend? No, it doesn't really bend, but it creates some waves and it pushes some air towards the other side. That's how it is. Whenever you go for kicking, your legs has to act like a strip of cardboard when they kick. They'll be kicking the water very nice and gentle without literally bending your knees, and of course which will give you a greater strength to go ahead. The moment you start bending your knees, your smaller muscle will get active, and of course you will not be able to see further result. You will not be able to go faster than that. These are the basic things that you need to understand. Practice this for at least 7 to 8 days of kicking. Of course, for people who are practicing for the first time, freestyle kick must be a little boring task to do it for at least 7 to 8 days. But of course, this is worth investing so much of time because this is something which will make your freestyle really nice and smoother. Later on, of course, now there are a few concepts again that I have to tell you. Why exactly kicking has to be done for so long a period of time? For example, why exactly the kicking has to be done for, let's say, 7 to 8 days? Why I'm asking you to do that? Because we need to make our kick so perfect that whatever we do next, for example, let's say that if you're going for hand movements later on, the next step that we need to learn is hand movements. So now if I ask you to move your hands, your legs has to be so perfect as well as unconscious that even if you're moving your hands back there, your legs has to be absolutely perfect without doing any kind of mistakes. So what I mean to say is you need to develop subconscious kick. Even if you're not focusing on the kick, still your kick has to be the best. Then only you will be able to go for the further steps in freestyle. Otherwise, it's one thing that will happen, I can show in this video. When you will start moving your hands, your literally legs will stop. That is something that you're not supposed to do. There are few drills to check whether your kick is sufficient enough to go for hand movements or not. I'll be posting those videos to you. Of course, you stay connected with us on this channel and you will get to know what are the checkpoints, how you're supposed to check whether your kick is good enough to learn the hands or not. And you'll be able to verify your own kick. And if you have any kind of question, please mention us in the comment. Of course, we'll try to help everyone who is trying to go for this swim. and you can share us the videos of yours. If you have any kind of problem, then of course I'll try to show it and try to give you the corrections if it is required. Thank you so much, and stay connected with us for the next video, in which we'll be giving you some drills for freestyle kicks. We will be giving you freestyle kick along with the kickboard, and we'll be giving you freestyle hand movements as well. Thank you so much.